we're going to do a little investigation with adding integers. If you consider these integer tiles up here, also known as algebra tiles, if we let the green tile equal +1 and the red tile equal -1, I want you to consider some of these examples. If I wanted to find out what the sum of -6 and 3 is, I could use these algebra tiles. Consider this. If I have -6, I'm going to need 6 red tiles. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. So that represents the -6. For the 3, I'm going to need 3 green tiles. Remember, we learned yesterday that positive and negative numbers are opposites, and together they make 0. So what you actually have here is you have some 0 pairs. A red and a green make 0. A red and a green make 0. If I take another red and another green, that's another 0 set. So all of this together really makes 0. Opposites make 0. So all of this is 0. And what I'm left with are 3 red tiles. The red tiles are negative, so this represents -3. So -6 plus 3 equals -3. Think about that. Let's try another one. -8 plus 4. So this time I'm going to need 8 red tiles. Those are my negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to need 4 green tiles because the green are positive. 1, 2, 3, 4. To solve this problem, I'm first going to identify the 0 pairs. Remember, a red and a green cancel each other out. They make 0. So there's 0, another red and green, another red and green, and another red and green all make 0 pairs. So all of this, again, makes 0. And what we're left with are 4 red tiles, so that means -4. So -8 plus 4 equals -4. Let's look at another one. I'm going to clear the board. Let's look at a different one. This time the first number is positive. So I'm going to need 5 green tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My second number is negative, so I need 2 red tiles. 1, 2. You know the drill. Let's find the 0 pairs. Let's see which cancel each other out. So I've got a red and a green, a red and a green, a green and red. I have no more 0 pairs, and what I'm left with are 3 greens, which means my answer is +3. So 5 plus -2 equals +3. Let's try one more. This one I have -5 plus -3. So I'm going to need 5 red tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And another 3 red tiles because both of my numbers are negative. So another 3. 1, 2, 3. In this example, I have no 0 pairs. I have no red and greens to cancel each other out and make 0. So my answer is -8. I have 8 red tiles. So my answer is -8. So -5 plus -3 equals -8. By the way, the only reason this is in parentheses is so that you can read it easily as a negative number. Some kids get confused and if it doesn't have parentheses, they read it as -5 plus -3. But we read it as -5 plus -3. You're probably probably wondering if I'm going to drag 48 red tiles. I'm not. Here's your job. I'm going to put those answers back up. -3. -8 plus 4 is -4. 5 plus -2 is 3. And -5 plus -3 is -8. I want you to think for a minute. What could the rules be for adding integers? How could I solve these problems without using these handy tiles? These work for problems like these, but what if I have to do -48 plus 13? It wouldn't be practical to use tiles, so I've got to come up with another strategy. I want you to pause the video and I want you to think about these 4 examples that we just did. And is there a way that we could come up with these answers? Can you think of a rule that works? Pause the video and I want you to write down your thoughts. And then unpause the video and we'll talk more about the rules. One thing that I hope you noticed is that when you have a negative and a positive number like these, we really didn't add, did we? You actually find the difference. When you have a negative and a positive number, you actually subtract them. See, 6 minus 3 is 3. 8 minus 4 is 4. 5 minus 2 is 3. When you have 2 negative numbers, you really do add. -5 and -3, 5 and 3 are 8. So how do we know what sign to use? How do we know if our answer is going to be negative or positive? Did you see a pattern? Pause the video if you need to and think about that. How do we know what sign our answer is going to have? If you look closely, you'll notice that the number with the bigger absolute value, in other words, the number with the bigger value here, is the same sign as the answer. See, 6 has a bigger absolute value, and its answer is negative. 8 has the bigger absolute value, it is negative, and this answer is negative. In this one, 5 has the bigger absolute value, and it is positive, and our answer here is positive. In this one, both add-ins are negative, so our answer has to be negative. If you have red tiles and red tiles, you're going to end up with red tiles. So let's apply what we've learned. Think about this. If we have -48 and 13, what are we going to do? Are we going to add them, or are we going to subtract them? You're right, we're going to subtract them. If one number is negative and the other number is positive, you're really finding a difference. You're subtracting them. So you would do 48 minus 13, and that would give you 35. The next question we have to figure out is it going to be positive 35 or negative 35? Remember what we learned. If the bigger absolute value is negative, your answer is going to be negative. If the bigger absolute value is positive, your answer is going to be positive. And in this case, 48 is bigger and it is negative, so our answer will be negative. We're going to do a lot more practice with adding integers over the next few days and weeks. So bring your notes tomorrow and all of these examples, and I will see you then.